They say the heart was still beating. That was the justification. Not the voice of the woman whose blood once filled it, not the breath she once drew in the early mornings before the children woke, not the dreams she whispered to her boyfriend on quiet car rides or the nurse's touch she offered to strangers in need. No, the law only heard a fetal heartbeat, echoing like a drum inside a body that no longer knew it was alive. Adriana Smith has died. That is not opinion, that is medical fact. Brain dead, irreversible. But in the great state of Georgia, under the weight of a law written by politicians with pulpits instead of stethoscopes, her body has been reanimated. Not by miracle or divine grace, but by machines and wires and legal mandates that confuse righteousness with cruelty. Let me be clear, this is not a political issue. This is a family in mourning. This is a mother holding the hand of her dead daughter while watching that daughter's chest rise and fall artificially because the state refuses to let her go. This is a boyfriend sitting vigil beside the lifeless body of the woman he loves, hoping for something good to come from all this mechanized grief, and a family left with no control, no agency, and no voice. Adriana was a nurse, a mother, a woman, and she deserved to be treated as one in death, not just a vessel. But here we are in 2025, in a state governed not by reason or compassion, but by a grotesque form of necropolitics where a body can be commandeered by law, sustained like a sarcophagus, humming with forced breath because a 6-week-old embryo with a heartbeat was declared by statute a person. There is no decency in this. There is no honor in using the corpse of a mother as an incubator. There is no God in this machine. The fetus, now nicknamed Chance, has been diagnosed with hydrocephalus, fluid on the brain. It may not survive. It may live with severe complications. It may live a life defined from its first breath by pain and pity. But it is not Chance that Georgia is protecting. It is the illusion of moral certainty, the delusion that control equals sanctity, that dominion over death makes you righteous in life. And here in the sterile hallways of Emory University Hospital, lit by the hum of fluorescent lights and the beep of cold monitors, a family is forced to pray, not for life, but for permission to let death be real, to let goodbye be spoken, to let dignity have the final word. What cruelty it is to tell a mother she cannot bury her daughter, to tell a boyfriend that the love of his life is no longer his to mourn, that she belongs now to the whims of a law too cowardly to account for reality and too arrogant to yield to grief. This is not pro-life. This is anti-human. And yet the politicians will call this a triumph. They will fold their hands on Sunday morning, lean into microphones, and speak of God's will, unbothered that they have made themselves arbiters of it. They will not sit beside Adriana's children and explain why their mother's body was made a battleground. They will not weep with her parents. They will not attend the funeral, if one is ever allowed to be held. Because for them, Adriana is not a person. She is precedent. And I cannot help but wonder how many more dead women will be used to keep the heartbeat of an ideology alive. It is time to reclaim our language, to remember what it means to care. The body is not a billboard. Death is not a loophole. And family, real family, does not deserve to be turned into a headline or a pawn in someone else's crusade. Adriana Smith has died. She is not brain dead and pregnant. She is not a womb with a plug. She was a woman, a nurse, a mother, a daughter, and a partner, and she deserves peace. And if there is to be any justice in this country, let it begin here, with the courage to admit that our laws should serve the living, not puppeteer the dead. And for the love of mercy, let her rest. Let us bury our dead. Let us hold the hand of a grieving mother and say, "You can go now." Let us treat the bodies of our daughters not as battlegrounds, but as sacred ground. And if we still know how to feel anything at all, let us weep for this. Because this is not what life looks like. This is what happens when the law forgets how to love. Defiance till death.